Alright everyone out there in Banjo Land, Mike Henning here. Come today with just a little free mini banjo lesson. I want to talk about a classic must-know up-the-neck Scruggs lick. If you've heard the song Foggy Mountain Special, you definitely heard this lick before, but it's a lick Scruggs would use all the time in backup, in lead, kind of one of those must-know up-the-neck backup licks. Alright, enough talking, let's jump into this Scruggs lick. Here we go. Okay, so let's start by breaking down the lick. We're going to start further up the neck, kind of out of this Scruggs D-shape movable G chord up here. You're probably familiar with this one up here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with our index finger on the 7th fret. And we're going to use the thumb of our right hand. And then we're going to play the 9th fret on the 3rd string. And we're going to use our middle finger if we can. I'll show you why in a second. So we're going to go from index to middle. It might feel like a big stretch, but what that's going to allow us to do then is then grab our index finger on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. So we're kind of going from this D-shaped G chord to kind of this like same position, but just using different fingers, which frees us up to play more licks. So that's why we're doing that. So we're going, so I'm doing with my right hand, thumb, index, thumb. And then right there, I'm going to do a pinky backslide. This is going to be good pinky practice. So index finger with your right hand, and you're going to do an 11 to 10 backslide. And then down to the 8th fret again, and then back to the 9th fret on the 3rd string with your 2nd finger. So the whole thing sounds like this. So I'm doing thumb, index, thumb, index, index, thumb. Might be easier to do it a little faster. You can keep your ring finger up on this 9th fret if you want, but sometimes I'll take that one off if it's a little bit of a stretch. But again, that's the shape we're thinking out of. So that's the lick that we're going to do. How would we play that down the neck? It would be this. So you do it open 2, single string on the low string, and then open 3rd string, and then a 3-2 backslide, open, right? It's good to know how a lick translates from down the neck to up the neck and vice versa, right? So the thing you want to avoid that I see a lot of people do, and it doesn't, if you can do it, you do it sometimes, it's not the end of the world, but again, if you use different fingers, like for example, it might feel more natural at first to do index and then ring finger, but then you're kind of out of position, and if you want to go back up into that shape, it makes it trickier, right? So again, you always want to think a little bit ahead of where you're going. That's why I'm doing the fingering that way, and I'll show you when we add the next little lick to it, it becomes even more apparent of why using those fingers is good, okay? So how you can practice ending the lick is right here on this 8th fret, right? So you have, or you can pinch and then roll. Really good pinky practice, right? You have to get your pinky going straight down and kind of squeeze your other fingers to get a little bit of strength, and then just backslide. One little variation you can do is just changing the right hand slightly. And then right here, land 8th fret. You can use your thumb of your right hand. Remember, with Scruggs style, a lot of the times the variations are very small, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We're just changing things slightly with Scruggs style. So you have... Another lick that this one gets connected to a lot, like the song Foggy Mountain Special, if you've heard that song, is a lick like this. Something like that. So we're going up to the, again, taking this shape, now moving it up to the 12th fret, and then letting your index, or excuse me, your middle finger take over. So kind of going from this, what would be like a G bar, to this shape here, right? So that's why using those fingerings, it'll help when you transition between those two positions. So watch, we're going 12th fret up here, 1st string, and then an 11-12 hammer on my thumb of my right hand comes down to thumb middle, and then use your open 5th string, and then come back here. So you have 1, 2, and 3, and 4 is how you'd count it. And then play the lick. So that's essentially kind of like the opening melody line to Foggy Mountain Special. So you can use this as a backup or lead lick. That's why licks like these are really versatile. So you can see how we're using those fingerings. That's where using this finger becomes much more important when we add this. Watch if I did it this way. And then I shift it out of position. See how you're just creating more work, where if I can keep this one down, it kind of smooths out that whole change. Now I'm just in this shape. So these small little details, they might seem kind of like, why does it matter so much what finger you're using? But when you start playing stuff faster, those little things are going to make a big difference. You're not taking fingers off and moving them and then putting them right back down, or moving a finger unnecessarily. You want to think about being able to transition cleanly between these two positions. That'll help clean that up, I think, if you use those correct fingerings there. Okay, so the other thing you'll do in this style a lot is sometimes you'll break traditional Scruggs rules and you'll use multiple fingers in a row of your right hand. So again, in normal Scruggs style, usually you'll use different fingers for each note, so you're not playing multiple fingers in a row. But kind of in this swing bouncing style and at a slower tempo, this multiple fingers actually works well. So to kind of modify that lick slightly, what we can do is we can now play our middle finger of our right hand twice on that 12th fret. And then do the hammer on. And then instead of using the 5th string, like that, which is one way to do it, another way you could do it is double up this note here with your index finger twice. So you'd have that double kind of finger in a row, adds that really bouncy kind of swing style. Try it both ways. But that's something you can add. You could also add it at the very end, right? Right, so just kind of practice adding those double fingers in a row, the double thumb, double index, or double middle. It'll add that swing element. So again, you could do... That'd be like another little way to just modify that lick. Another one you could do is instead of doing the 12th fret twice, you could do the 14th fret and then the 12th fret. Or try it both ways, right? With the open 5th string or with the double. And then add the lick. So you can see how I'm taking a new idea and then extending it out and then bringing the lick back in. So maybe I can slide up here to try something. And then I play the lick. Maybe I go to a C chord, right? And so again, you want to try those licks in different situations, right? Coming out of a different chord. Maybe adding more phrases before it or more phrases after, right? That's how you're really going to test if you know it. It's one thing to just sit there and go like this. That's good practice at the beginning, but it's in like when you're actually in a jam session, it's going to be hard to just pull that out of nowhere. So you want to practice building around it, right? Maybe go up to a D and then back to a G, right? And then a lick. Right? You could try it as an ending lick, a beginning lick, right? It's a very versatile lick. Another little thing you can do with that double thumbing idea or double index idea is that's like, again, another little kind of lick idea from that Foggy Mountain Special. Just, again, it gives you that swing flavor. So I'm going. You can finish out the roll if you want to make it more Scruggs at the end. But you could like play that lick like measure 13. Right, and then add the lick. Another one you'll see a lot is this, which is again a good stretch. So I'm going up to that 11th fret and choking, pinching both those, kind of bending it up. Lick. You could practice, try it with the double fingers too. Like that. And then the last thing you can do is, right, so one of the other benefits of using the double index and double middle fingers, not using the open fifth string, the open fifth string obviously makes it a little bit easier to travel, but the downside of using the open fifth string is it's not going to work in every key, right? If we play without any open strings, what we could do is we could take that same idea and move it around, right? So let's take it up to C, right? So take it instead of this shape here, go up here, now we have, right? Right? So you can actually play those licks anywhere you want. Anywhere you have this little chord, you could do it on D down here, right? So that's why sometimes not using any open strings is good. This one would be a big stretch, but you could try it. But that's what's nice, is even if you don't know what key it is, you can just move it around, right? Find a weird key, like, you know, that'd be F or E flat, right? You can just take that shape and move it around. That's also where using the same fingerings is so important, right? If you modify everything when you're in G to make it easier because you're using all these open strings, but then when you want to take that idea and move it to a new key, it becomes harder. So you kind of want to figure out where you can use those open strings and where you can substitute them, because Scruggs was also a big proponent of that. Like, he would take an idea he would know in G and move it to a different key. And again, a lot of his playing is very positional. So we're thinking out of that chord shape, and he's just literally just moving it up and down. I don't want to speak for him, but I'm guessing he wasn't thinking about the theory behind it. He's visualizing that chord shape and just literally just moving it around. And then if one of the notes doesn't sound quite right, maybe an open string, that's where you can modify it and play a closed note, so a non-open string, right? All right, hopefully that gives you some help. The last thing is, if you're having trouble with it in G right off the bat, put your capo on and move it further up the neck, right? So maybe capo up 4 and try it out a B. You know, you can do it also closed position, but if you want to start, you can also just add your capo, and it won't be as big of a stretch up here. Because that pinky slide, at least for me, it took a while to get that down. So you can move it further up the neck to practice it, so the stretch won't be as big, and then when you get it down, you can move it further down the neck. All right, hopefully that helps you out. Good luck and keep picking. You got this.